commentary.
And Hexum wins the jump for the Skyline, as now George Brock's going to be bringing it up. Gives it at the top of the key, sorry, to Lyle Hexum, as Brock's going to have the ball. Mid-range shot for Brock is good, and our first points of the matchup go to the Skyline. So bringing up the ball right now for the Finest was Devin Patterson, and right now having the ball is Scott. Gives it over to Jenkins, over to Show. Show driving inside, gives it over to KJ Scott, driving inside. Does not get the layup, as Brock is going to tip it, and now we'll bring down the ball for the Skyline. Going to take a three, very well contested, no good there. Rebounded by Show and brought the other way by Patterson.
And there's George Brock playing defense and offense, a two-way player, providing all of the energy for the team, as we see George Brock leading this team early.
Yeah, and Brock's had a great season ever since he came to the Dallas Skyline, posting 17 points per game, 5.9 assists per game, and 4.1 rebounds per game, and has been a pest for any offensive player for the other team. First shot is good for Patterson, as now the Finest are on the board.
And there we have Ricardo Ortiz. We figured out the technical difficulties, and hopefully we'll hear some more commentary from him.
And second is good. Ortiz checks in the ball to George Brock as he brings it down the floor. Brock sends Hexum out. Gives it to Hexum. Hexum driving inside and gets a lefty layup to fall.
And early on here, we can see a little bit of the pressure that Ricardo Ortiz is able to relinquish from other players, such as Lyle Hexum. Just simply him being on the court doesn't allow Omaha to double and fall in on Lyle, as we've seen teams in the past do in the absence of Ricardo Ortiz.
Brock with the ball, gives it to Hexum, back to Brock. And that will be a foul. And, you know, it's pretty interesting. The first game that I actually broadcasted for the Skyline was the game that Ricardo Ortiz went down with that arm injury. And he has been very missed by this Dallas Skyline team, as he was just a spark plug both on the offensive and defensive front for them. So Brock at the line for two right now for the Skyline. Brock's first shot, no good. And at one point it looked like in this game we were only going to have two referees, but thankfully a third did show. And Brock misses both from the line.
That has been a weakness in Brock's game thus far, just with all of Dallas Skyline not being a very good free throw shooting team. Although they do average quite a few free throws attempts per game, you gotta ask yourself if that's a strategic strategy on the other side to send Dallas to the free throw line as much as they can.
Brock bringing up the ball now for the Skyline, as there is a turnover by the Finest. Hexum gives it to Ortiz. Back to Brock. Brock with the ball, gives it to Ellis. Ellis driving inside, has a wide open lane and is good on the right-handed layup. So Patterson bringing up the ball for the Finest. Gives it to Patterson. Back to Scott. Scott, guarded by Ortiz, gives it, trying to give it inside there to Patterson, but is no good from the throw from Roman Jenkins, as that will be Skyline ball. So George Brock bringing up the ball for the Skyline, gives it to Lyle Hexum. Hexum gives it to Ortiz, over to Brock. Brock looking around, gives it over to Ellis. Ellis is going to take a long-range three, no good there. Rebounded by Patterson and brought down the other way as he gives it to KJ Scott inside. Turned over there as Hexum to Ortiz. Artis does not convert on that, as Davidson comes up with the ball somehow for the Skyline, and now takes a long two, no good there. Rebounded by Scott and thrown up to Jenkins.
And although Ricardo Artis missed that shot, that's his first touch of the game.
And especially, I believe, first shot in a in-game scenario in over a month.
Yeah.
Believe month and a half.
You gonna call it? I love you. You got it. You got it. Finish that, sorry.
So Jenkins at the line right now.
You don't go right. You up here. No, you stay right here.
For the Finest, as we hear
yeah, you good. You good.
Artis. And I'm not gonna lie, I wish we could talk to him right now.
Box out.
Now, one thing though, that Omaha is not necessarily a great free throw shooting team. Dallas shooting 68.2 from the line. Omaha only shooting 71%. And as we've seen in their recent games, they haven't been producing from the line. So we'll see if Dallas is okay with sending them to the line just as much.
So Artis checks the ball into Brock. Brock with the ball for the Skyline on the right side of the floor, guarded by KJ Scott. Takes a three, and it's good, and KJ Scott checks in from the long range.
And now George Brock, just as I mentioned earlier with Lyle Hexum, but with the insertion of Ricardo Artis, George Brock won't demand as much defensive pressure. Neither will Malachi Davidson. As George Brock drawing a foul. As I said, George Brock does it all on the court.
A great charge there from Brock to give it to the Skyline, and we're going to have a few check-ins right now for the Finest. So it looks like we'll have Brandon Jones check into the game, and as well, I believe, Dejon Streeter, sorry. And driving inside is going to be Brock, no good there. Rebounded by Streeter. Gives it to KJ Scott. Scott inside to Patterson. And that will be a travel on Brandon Jones, as that will be Skyline ball.
George Brock playing very aggressive. You gotta wonder is he more comfortable now that Ricardo Artis is in the lineup?
I would imagine so, considering the fact that both Artis and Brock both kind of play the same specialized game. As Artis there gets his first points back in his return. Patterson driving inside for the Finest, gives it out. Scott for three, no good there, rebounded by Artis.
Go, go.
Look for Omaha to look for that corner three-point shot, though, continuously throughout this game.
Hexum, long range, no good there.
They shoot
Rebounded
40% from the line.
Patterson, mid-range game, no good there. And an air ball for the Finest.
One player we haven't seen much from early, though, is Malachi Davidson. So we'll see strategically if we're hiding him for now until George Brock and Ricardo Artis fire up a little bit.
And it's surprising that we haven't heard from Davidson, just especially how much he's meant to the Skyline, as far, especially recently, but just in the season, he's been averaging 20.4 points per game, 5.7 assists per game, 4.4 rebounds per game, and a 1.6 steals per game.
You know, and as you mentioned that, he with the 5.7 assists per game, that's 10th in the basketball league. And you've seen that because he's had to run the point guard position in lieu of Ricardo Artis.
I'm talking about like clear space, not even no record stop or nothing.
Gonna feel it now, got the feeling now, got the no, oh. Gonna feel it now, got the feeling now, got the no, oh. Gonna feel it now.
It's all about dynamics, bro.
He definitely has been itching to get back on the court.
He's ready, and I think all of Skyline Nation has been ready, waiting for his return. And I'm excited to see what we have. Already now with just 2 points early in the game, shooting 1 for 2 from the field. But we'll see if he can translate a few of these points. And an interesting insertion to the starting lineup in Chancellor Ellis, a floor spacer who can also play big on the inside. So we'll see if they look to run a little bit with Omaha, as they are a very fast team.
So it'll be Omaha's finest ball, as Streeter will check in the ball and gives it to KJ Scott here on the left side of the floor by us. Gives it back to Patterson. Patterson to Scott. Scott looking around, tries to give it back to Patterson. Stolen there by Malachi Davidson and brought down the other way. And no good there, rebounded by Patterson. And we got a 4-on-3 fast break. 3-point shot by Patterson is good, and that will be a 6-point lead still for the Skyline, as finally, after about 5 minutes of not scoring, the Finest get back on the board. Brock with the ball, step back, no good there, rebounded by Jones and brought down the other way. Scott, wide open three, and it's good there, and Scott makes Hexham pay for not guarding him heavily.
And if Dallas Skyline wants to keep this lead, they can't let Omaha shoot open threes. Contest as many open threes as you can, and really just take away that 3-point shot to the best of your ability of your Skyline.
Ellis with the ball now for the Skyline, trying to look inside, gives it to Hexham. Guarded by Jones. And an interesting thing about both Hexham and Jones in this is they're both from the same university, Peru State. And I realized, making the lineup today, that I have been saying Peru State the entire year instead of Peru. And I believe they were both teammates back in 2017, 2018.
And they called that on the floor. All of Dallas Skyline thought Lyle Hexham was going up for a shot, but I guess not.
Davidson gives it in, tried to give it inside to Hexham, but swatted away. And now KJ Scott will bring it down the other way. And a left-handed layup, almost though swatted away off the backboard by Davidson. And Brock bringing up the ball for the Skyline, gives it over to Lyle Hexham. Hexham to Artis.
And
Artis inside to Brock. Blocked away by Scott and brought down the other way.
Notice how they're clamping in on Ricardo Artis. Even though he's been out of the lineup for a few months now, he still demands that defensive pressure.
Fadeaway shot there by Patterson is no good and rebounded by Brock. Brought down the other way now by Davidson. Davidson will be fouled, and I believe that will go on KJ Scott. And that should be a floor foul, so will not bring him to the line.
Don't help me at all.
So Brock inbounding the ball, gives it to Lyle Hexham, posting up on Jones. Long two is no good there, rebounded by Patterson, brought the other way by Scott. Davidson, that will be a blocking foul on him, did not establish ground.
Interesting take there by Lyle Hexham. We'll see if he tries to use his size on the inside, as he is by far and large the biggest player on the court right now. And he's being guarded pretty closely, and he's getting clamped on the inside.
No good there on the shot is Jones, is brought down the other way for the Skyline. Davidson guarded by Show. Gives it to Brock. Brock checks in again from deep.
That's now 2 for 3, 6 points from beyond the arc.
Scott with the ball for the Finest, guarded by Davidson. Trying to go inside, doesn't get it. And Hexham swats it away after a very interesting turn of events there, and that will be Skyline ball.
Hey, he's all on the back of my head then.
There's Ricardo, thought he got hit on the back. And now we'll have an insertion. Looks like there's an issue.
I got so many mismatches. They don't know what. I got mismatch galore.
So we'll see Denzel Smith and Elton Dyer. Elton Dyer's been one of those players that's had to step up, bringing energy on and off the floor.
Brock with the ball, gives it over to Davidson. Davidson's going to take a long three, and it's good there. And right now, the Skyline are looking locked in from deep. Patterson with the ball for the Finest, guarded by Smith. And that will be an and one for Devontae Patterson. And Patterson has had himself a good season right now for Omaha's Finest, posting 23.6 points per game, 2 assists per game, and 6.9 rebounds per game, as well with a 1.3 steals per game. Now, the one guy on the floor for the Finest to look out for, especially in the steals column, is KJ Scott, posting 2.3 steals per game. And Patterson makes the and one there. So Skyline bringing it the other way here. Davidson takes a three from the logo, and it's good.
And Malachi Davidson, for normal players, that would be a bad shot and a rush shot. But for Malachi Davidson, lighting it up from the three-point line this year, the second best three-point shooter for the Skyline, right behind Chance Ellis.
And the tip-in is good there by Streeter. Rock with the ball. Guarded by Show, driving inside. No good there, as Streeter's going to bring it the other way for the Finest. Gives it up to Patterson. Devin Patterson with the shot. No good there. Rebounded by Davidson. Given up to Smith. Smith floater. No good there. And that should bring him to the line. And that will be a, I believe, media timeout, as it is a 20-15 game with 2:57 remaining here in the first quarter.
It's time to win. Oh, yeah. TBL. When we ride, when we roll, when we fly, when we roll, we are TBL. When we fall, when we fight, and we grow, we unite, we are one. TBL, watch that cross when we got the ball. Got that Super Saiyan power, we unstoppable. And this our moment, if I take this shot, it's got the ball. Give me the rock before that clock goes off. It's going on, yeah. They tryna block me, but these points is still going on. They wanna give me the glory, I just send it up. Act like you tryna guard me and get them hands.
And welcome back to the broadcast here. 2015 is your score, with the Skyline up by 5 with 2:57 remaining in the game. Now, checking into the game for the Dallas Skyline, you may have thought it was basically a clone of Lyle Hexum, but that is in fact number 22, William Benjamin, who came from the Waco Royals, who the Skyline played, I believe, about a month ago. So we saw him in contest in that game, and it's interesting considering how much Hexum and Benjamin look so much alike, as Smith makes his first.
And in addition to how much they look alike, they also play very much alike. We'll see a lot of them playing an inside-out game, with Lyle playing the high post and Will playing the low post. So look for that, especially with if Lyle gets hot from the wing, shooting those threes, as we've seen routinely in this season.
Shooter with the ball for the Finest, guarded heavily by Ellen Dyer. Patterson inside, and no good there on the layup is going to be Jenkins. And that will be Finest ball, as I believe the Skyline stepped out of bounds on that.
And, you know, it's little turnovers like that that bring the turnover number for Dallas up so much. You rarely see fast break opportunities against Skyline. It's small things like that.
And with those small miscues there, we see that teams most of the time against the Skyline will convert on those, as we just saw Streeter there with a top-of-the-key three. So Hexum with the ball. Tries to give it inside there to Benjamin, but swatted away by Streeter as Patterson has the ball. Tries to give it to Streeter again. Stolen by Dyer, given to Smith. And going the other way is going to be to Benjamin. That's going to be a foul on J.C. Show.
And now look for Omaha's offense, to slow down a bit, because with the insertion of Lyle and Will and also Denzel Smith, that is a very big lineup that a lot of teams in TBL don't necessarily have. You see Houston do this a lot. So now Omaha has to put in their big lineup, which is going to slow down their game. And Omaha, as we know, likes to run. So we'll see how their offense changes.
And, you know, one thing that you say about that, you know, with how big the lineup is for Dallas, you would be surprised how fast this lineup plays.
Exactly.
And that's kind of what really changes the pace for their bigger lineup.
Especially with Denzel Smith. Did we just see Will Davidson go 2 for 2 from the line? Look at God. We've seen his free throw struggles throughout this season. There's Elton Dyer with the energy on the floor.
And that is something that we've seen all season long from Elton Dyer. He's put together great numbers on the offensive front, but especially on the defensive side, really coming in late game clutch on the defense. As Streeter now with the ball for the Finest, gives it up to Patterson. Patterson's going to have a wide open three, but just off on the right side there, and that should be Skyline ball.
But that's the shot that Omaha wants. Don't give them too many, Dallas, because that will fall 8 out of 10 times, or statistically speaking, 7 out of 10 times.
Davidson with the ball, gets it over to Hexum. Would not be, yep. Had a feeling Hexum was going to pull it from there, but does not make it, as Show's going to be the other way for the Finest, and he's going to score on the right-handed layup.
I really like Denzel Smith on the wing. Who lines up against Denzel Smith when he's on the wing? Do you risk it and put a big man on? What's interesting is Omaha is playing one of their small guards on Will, as we've seen that he's not a terribly great shooter from distance.
Smith there on the fadeaway, and that's going to be an and one. And a nice fadeaway jumper there. A little bit of Dirk Nowitzki action on that one.
And that is exactly what Denzel Smith brings. Bring him onto the team, brought just all-around energy, size, and decent shooting, too, from the field. Not a great three-point shooter, but from 10, 12, 15 feet, he can space the floor and give their guards, such as Malachi Davidson, George Brock, and Ricardo Ortiz, the space that they need to get inside and make some magic happen.
So it looks like there will be a delay of game call on the Skyline. And Smith converts there on the and one opportunity. And we are just under a minute with the first quarter here. Patterson with the ball, gives it over to Streeter on the left side of the floor. Patterson inside to Patterson, and a nice slam. So the Patterson and Patterson duo tonight already going into action. Smith from the wing, no good there. Rebounded though by Hexum. Davidson gets a nice jump there on the pump fake, and Davidson puts it in with the floater.
And that's what I was talking about with Denzel Smith, that floor spacing, the ability for Malachi Davidson to get inside was brought to you by good shooting from the Dallas Skyline Bigs. And there's Elton Dyer drawing a foul, an offensive charge.
And again, just like that, we see how well Dyer plays defense for the Skyline and just how much of a defensive asset he's been for them all season long. So Davidson bringing up the ball with about 10 seconds remaining in the quarter. He's going to ISO against Patterson, drives inside, and that will bring him to the line with 4.3 remaining in the first quarter.
Skyline can be a dangerous team if they hit their free throws. Right now they're shooting it at 5 for 7, so only 2 misses on the night, and that's with free throw appearances from Will Davidson, who's a routinely not great free throw shooter. So if they can hit their free throws, we're looking at a different team.
And first shot is good for Davidson. Second is good from Davidson. Show's gonna have to chuck up something here. Gets a layup off, but swatted away from Hexham. Now they are gonna say it counts. And Patterson at the buzzer there gets it in for the Finest. And that will end the first quarter. 31-24 is your score right now, as we are going to take a very quick break, and we will be right back for the second quarter. And we are back here on the broadcast. 31-24 is your score, as the Skyline right now up by 7. And a heck of a game so far from both the Finest and the Skyline. As first it looked like the Skyline were just going to kind of ease their way through the first, and the Finest just came back at one point down 9 and only down 7 as they went on a pretty decent run in the middle of the first, as there's an air ball by Tychicus Anderson, sorry.
Lyle Hexham going coast to coast. See if they give him the shooting foul this time.
So Hexham at the line. Hexham good on his first.
And here's a player I'm really excited about. The former Harlem Globetrotter entering the game. Will be entering the game for Lyle. Number 0, Richard McCallop. So we'll see how his game translates to TBL coming from the Globetrotters.
I did not know that, as Hexham there makes a second. I actually just learned that McCallop was going to be in the lineup today, as we figured out about LJ Westbrook. And it will be interesting because, I mean, you look at how the Globetrotters games are, a lot of questions always, you know, how would they translate into a professional basketball setting? And I guess we're going to get our answer today with this.
I'm excited for it as Skyline fouls Brandon Jones, sending him to the line to convert an and one. And here he is, the man of the hour, number 0, Richard McCallop. Now I've heard from Skyline coaches and from other players, what we can expect from McCallop is a lot of athleticism. So look for some high-flying action, whether it be dunks or blocks. He's going to come in at the 4 slot.
Now, I was trying to do some quick research here and see if I could find his nickname, but that may be a question we have to ask him eventually in some interview. Either that or trying to figure it out as we go, as shot there no good, and the Finest will bring it the other way. As Streeter with the ball. Gives it to Scott outside, and Anderson no good on his 3, rebounded by Streeter. Shot up there by Jones is no good, and rebounded by Malachi Davidson. And Smith with the ball. And the question is, looks like they're going to give a blocking foul to KJ Scott.
I believe that's going to be 3 on KJ Scott. Malachi Davidson going to get a well-deserved break. I tell you what, I love watching Malachi Davidson and George Brock play together, but having them interchangeably sub in and out is great for Skyline because they're 2 high-energy players that will come in, so you know you have one fiery guard on the court at all times.
Smith takes a long 2, no good there. And rebounded by Jones, who's going to give it to Streeter. Streeter with the ball, gives it to Scott for 3, and Scott's going to be off the right side there. And taking the other way is going to be by Elton Dyer. Dyer gives it to McCallum. No good there on his first shot. And KJ Scott going to bring it the other way. Nice behind the back there. No good there. But somehow gets the ball back. Tries to go up and is finally good on the layup.
KJ Scott, one of those energy players for Omaha. We'll see if he can keep that energy throughout the whole game. Now shooting 2 for 5.
Smith for 3, check. And Smith locks in there. And you know, we were talking about earlier how Smith is not the greatest three-point shooter, but he will come up clutch when he needs to.
And here comes Ricardo. Coming in for Elton Dyer. Omaha making a big sub. We'll see if we can get them all.
So it looks like we got Patterson back in the game, and it's just basically Patterson, I'm pretty sure. Oh, we got a little bit of...
Hell yeah.
And there will be a technical, I believe, going against Smith and... So Smith and Ramon Jenkins, it looks like, will be getting technical fouls.
Hey, Smooth. Hey, Smooth, he don't even got a jersey, bro. He don't even got a jersey. Come on.
So it looks like Timothy Lott Jr. will be most likely coming in for Devontae Smith.
He don't even got a jersey, bro. He don't even got a jersey. Why are you talking to him? Come on, man. Let's go, Blue.
And there's Ricardo Artis. Now we'll see what happens. Looks like Denzel Smith didn't like something that was said from the Omaha bench.
Is it bad to say that I wish that Artis was the one that was in that so we could hear that?
No, I'm right there with you. I'm glad somebody said it because we were all thinking it.
McCallum, 3 ball there, no good. Almost got his own rebound there. As Jones driving inside, and that should be out of bounds, Skyline ball. And just seeing how chippy this game has been so far, it will be interesting to see if those will advance as the game goes on.
We'll see. You know, Dallas Skyline plays a very high, intense game. We've seen it, especially at home. They play with a lot of energy, a lot of passion. Lots of games have been chippy. Nothing terrible has happened yet, but we've definitely seen moments of high pressure.
So that will be now they're not going to call a jump ball, which is very surprising.
They just call a foul, though. You got to call a jump ball, timeout, something. A foul, though.
And we got it confirmed. It was a foul call.
Yeah. Thanks, Ricardo. Patterson with the ball at the top of the key, guarded by Ricardo there. Transitions over. And a good charge there from Artis.
I'm fucking back. I'm fucking back.
There he is. When we were getting ready for the mic up to figure out who we were going to go with, we were going to go with Elton Dyer to get him his mic'd up session that we saw last week that didn't go as planned. But good thing we went with Ricardo.
And Brock there on the 3 ball. And Brock, I believe, has 3 3-pointers on the night so far. And that's going to go against McCallum. And we are about to see a check-in for the Dallas Skyline. Alito Cole coming into the game, the 6'7" forward.
And we'll see what Lato Cole's game translates to. He's coming off an injury. I believe he had a dislocated shoulder, so we'll see if that translates at all. Fortunately for Dallas, we do have depth on the inside, as we've seen with Will, Benjamin, Lyle Hexum, Denzel Smith, and now Lato Cole.
I swear, Mal.
And there's Ricardo Artis. Always a joy to hear from our third commentator.
And the second shot good from the Finest, as Brock's going to bring out the ball. And you know, there's some times when we just hear Artis talk and you just got to just be quiet and just listen to what goes on there.
Got to hear him out.
And Artis there on the layup. Show, long range three, and it's good there. And Show checking in there. The 6'3" guard out of Binghamton University.
But you know what? Lado Cole can't be the one to guard.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Show.
And there is a and it took the referee there little over 5 seconds to finally make that call.
Here's Tim Lott, and we've talked about Tim Lott numerous times. One of those energy players that you just love having on the court. He does a little bit of everything on the court. He plays guard, he plays big, he does whatever you need from him, and he is an energizer. And he comes
I
in
see
the
you
game.
trying to bang that hoe. I see you.
So he's just one of those players you
You
love
almost got
to
that
watch.
hoe.
KJ Scott now with 3 fouls.
And McAuliffe's first shot, no good.
McAuliffe coming to TBL to test run professional basketball on the competitive level.
And good on his first. So KJ Scott with the ball for the Finest, driving inside, guarded heavily by the Skyline. And Artis with the rebound there, went between the legs, and McAuliffe's gonna go up and gets it. And an acrobatic layup there by McAuliffe. And it's no wonder that McAuliffe was on the Globetrotters just with his sheer athleticism alone.
The return of your Dallas Skyline Fly Girls.
And you know, with that, I would imagine that a Globetrotter-like skill set would translate fairly well on the offensive end. Obviously, you'd have to adjust a little bit for defensive pressures, different defensive strategies, stuff of that nature. However, I would think that with shooting abilities, dribbling abilities, passing, stuff like that would translate very well. The real test would be to see what he can do on the defensive end. Thus far, I think he's done a pretty good job providing help side defense, especially right now playing next to Lado Cole, who has been a bit of a problem in the pick and roll when he has to switch on to guard. But when he has that backing of people like Denzel Smith, of people like McAuliffe, you see he proves to be a lot better, and they make their team a lot better. So I'll be excited to see. Thus far, he's done pretty well. And we'll see how the rest of this game translates throughout this game.
And you know, that's a great point, too. With the shooting ability, we remember back however long ago it was when the Globetrotters introduced their 4-point shot to their games, and just how much that they have to practice that shot, especially to be able to make that consistently in the game, because a lot of people don't understand how consistently they have to be.
Now we'll see Chancellor Ellis come in for McAuliffe. We'll give him a break. And Chancellor Ellis, the floor spacer and big body on the wing that we love to see. And now Ricardo talking to the ref. We'll key in what he's trying to say.
You gotta respect Yeah, let me go back. Let me go back.
Now we'll see a 1-3-1 defense.
Patterson with the ball now. Left side of the three-point line, no good there, and rebounded by Chancellor Ellis, as he's going to give it over to George Brock here, bringing it down the right side of the floor. Three-point shot there, and it's good! And if we want to talk about someone who's been locked in from three ever since the beginning of this game, it has been George Brock.
4 for 5 from the field, and I don't think that's something that Omaha anticipated at all. Not that George Brock is a bad three-point shooter, but he's certainly not something you would anticipate.
Artis tries to give a no-look pass there, intended for Chancellor Ellis, but it was tipped away, and still Skyline ball.
You got 3, you got 24.
And something about Lato Cole that we don't talk about, he's 6'7", 280, but just watching him play, he's very light on his feet. Not necessarily the high flyer that we have from Denzel Smith or Elton Dyer, but he's a pretty good guy. There's Chancellor Ellis doing what he does best, and shooting the ball.
And you know, one thing about that shot that I don't know if people saw, fumbled the ball and just threw it up afterwards for a fadeaway shot. And that just shows how good of a shooter that Chancellor Ellis is. And speaking of a good shooter there, JC Show with a three-pointer of his own there.
And that's something Omaha does do, is
Let it
shoot,
clear
and
it
there's
out.
Chancellor
Let
Ellis.
it clear it out.
And one of his own is the Skyline answer right back with a three of their own. And Show puts up a three. They answer back with another one.
Three-point barrage, I love it. Hit Chancellor back. And he will not be shown up on the floor. A good little stretch there, but here we see Dallas Skyline slowing the game down.
Artist with the ball, puts a floater in as KJ Scott going the other way now for the finest. Gives it to Patterson. Patterson gives it back to Scott. No good there, and that will be out on Patterson's Skyline ball.
Now, I don't know if anybody else saw on that last shot by Ricardo, but Lato Cole clearing space in the lane. We'll talk about the legality after the game of that move, but it wasn't called, and however you can get space for your guards, I guess you got to get it done.
Artist with the ball now for the Skyline. Puts up a three, no good there, and Chancellor Ellis trying to go in for that rebound is going to be no good, and brought the other way now by Jones. Jones puts it up, and that will be a foul, I believe, on Alito Cole.
God.
And we're about to have check back into the game for the Skyline, Lyle Hexum.
I'm shooting too much. I'm saving you. I'm completely honest with you. I'm saving. They're not stopping the drive.
And that will bring
Somebody
Brandon
stand in front of
Jones to the line.
Yeah. So if you is that he's rolling, he's good to do that?
Now you see
Those feel good,
Timothy
those
Lott Jr. talking at Coach Angela, and I would imagine with now Lyle Hexum coming in for him, I would imagine that the discussion that Angela Davidson and adjustments she wants to make are the rotations. Now we see Dallas Skyline a bit slow on the rotations, but an interesting move here. We talked about big lineups earlier. Now we have Lyle Hexum and Lato Cole playing the 4-5 slot with big Chancellor Ellis and Ricardo Artist running the wings. I love this lineup. I love when Coach Angela puts this in, because who do you put in to guard both Lyle Hexum and Lato Cole? It's going to slow down the offense a bit, but this is a big lineup as we see Lato Cole.
And that will be going the other way now, as that will be called on Alito Cole.
Whoa!
And that's the problem, though, with having somebody like Lato Cole, is he will get fouled simply for being bigger than other players. But this is a huge lineup.
Stay there, back up,
We'll
George.
see if they're going to be able to get in the lane with these two
We good on
giants
him.
on the inside.
So bringing it the other way now is going to be Jones. Jones posting up against Brock, gives it inside to Show near the elbow. No good there. Rebounded by George Brock, and brought down the other way as he gives it to Lyle Hexum. Hexum inside to Chancellor Ellis. Ellis guarded by Show. Tries to do a fadeaway, no good there. Rebounded by Brandon Jones, and going down the other way, gives it to Patterson. Patterson puts a three up against Cole. And with Cole in his face, still converts a three-point shot there for the finest. This is 54-43, with the Skyline having an 11-point lead, as we're about to see Malachi Davidson check back into the game. Hexum driving inside, guarded by Jones there. And gives it to Patterson. Patterson, open lane for him, and it's good. Now this is a problem when playing with a bigger lineup, is you're going to have a little bit of a slower rotation, and especially that we've seen there, Devin Patterson just exposing that and getting easily to the lane over Lyle Hexum.
That is, and now we see George Brock slowing the game down a little bit to try to avoid those situations.
And a nice spin move there by Ricardo Artis. And a nice little celebration too by him. I don't know if you caught that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Doing a little bit of a magician there. And that's going to be a blocking foul on Ricardo Artis.
That's a good deal on my end. And I can hold
And
him.
like
That's the problem.
Artis was talking
He
about
can't
that.
hold me. I can hold him. How that work?
Ricardo
Yeah.
talking to the fans over there. A
Yeah, I'm
man
getting
for
told
the
right now.
people.
I'm glad y'all hear me in this hole. He cannot hold me. Nobody.
And I will see Malachi Davidson coming on the floor. You got to imagine that a bit of that is going to be, if he comes in for Chancellor Ellis, I imagine it's going to be to keep up a little bit with the Omaha
You know, man,
fast
hey,
break.
I'm hungry today. If I see barbecue, I ain't gonna let it hang. Oh God. Yep. I really got the mismatch. I'm saving with the shot. Fact. Fact. Me, you, it don't matter. Yep.
It is amazing how much Ricardo Artis talks in a game.
It
That's
is.
a charge right there too. I'm right there.
Shout out to Prescott Matt for recommending
Kinda
Ricardo
protecting my arm
Artis
a
to
little
be
bit.
on the mic tonight.
I don't want to fall wrong.
Man, I'm not gonna lie, I would love to just talk to him and because I feel like that would be so, just a 10 times better element, even though this is amazing just in its own.
It is awesome, and he has conversations with everybody. So
Sometimes even with himself.
That's very true.
Oh yeah, I'm really mean as a motherfucker. Hey, he said I can be sensitive, but y'all niggas really cool. I ain't got even no beef with no talking.
So going back
almost
onto
out of
that
there for the
foul
whole
there
season,
on
bro.
Artis, that blocking foul, there are some times when trying to take
man.
the charge that you can't
Who pay for that?
over exaggerate it because the referees will catch up to it. So you
Where the
have
white
to
man
in
at?
some way give an Oscar award-winning take on that, but also can't over exaggerate like some soccer players have the problem with.
Wipe the floor.
Yeah.
The wipe. I like white man, man.
Ricardo
matter what
Artis
color
is
it
just
is.
an all-around entertainer.
I'm half white.
I don't even know. It's just one of those moments where you just have to sit and listen, like Mac was talking about earlier.
And it's strange because when sometimes we'll be talking over it, and then we stay quiet, and it'll just be some random bit there that we have no idea what the context is, as George Brock there on the layup.
Next game when we mic up, we'll just mic up Ricardo Artis and won't need a commentating staff. And there he is.
And Artis, is he gonna take off? Takes point and slams it down and posts up to Princeton cheerleader. Oh my goodness.
On behalf of Dallas Skyline media staff, we would like to apologize for anything that Ricardo Artis may say. We told him he could be uncensored, so we don't know what you're gonna get.
And that poor cheerleader over there just got absolutely posted up by Ricardo Artis.
That will be a story for the lunchroom all school year long when she goes back in the fall.
Now the question becomes, if Artis goes back up for a dunk, are we going to see kind of like when Shaq went towards the Suns bench, they all just scram, or what's going to happen?
It's going to happen. You never know. And here we're going to see the Dallas Fly Kids. These may be the most talented.
I'm talking about like clear space, not even no record stop or nothing.
Gonna feel it now, got the feeling now, got the, no, oh. Gonna feel it now, got the feeling now, got the, no, oh. Gonna feel it now,
It's all about dynamics, bro.
Is that you good?
And here we are. We're back having a good time here with Ricardo Artis and all of Dallas Skyline Nation.
And Scott with the ball. Driving inside. No good there. Rebounded by Lyle Hexum. Malachi Davidson with the ball. Gives it over to Chancellor Ellis for three. In the corner. It's good.
And there's Chancellor Ellis. Chancellor Ellis is also guarding JC Show, who is the Omaha shooter. And so shooter on shooter, and he's taking this challenge personal.
Brock gives it to Chancellor Ellis. For the double time there, and Ellis goes back to back with 3-pointers. And Ricardo Artis over there is loving it. Gave the Princeton cheerleaders there over there a little bit of a shimmy. I don't know if you saw that. I'm not gonna lie, this is great entertainment just on its own.
The game is so much more fun with Ricardo Artis on the court, let alone being mic'd up.
Hey, you get it, you don't got it, I'm gonna come back and screen for you.
And we are back here from the break. 66-48 is your score. Skyline almost up by 20, and a little inside access there to the timeout circle, something that most of the time we are unaware of what happens in there. And of course, having Ricardo Artis mic'd up, we get to experience that just a little bit with 1:18 remaining in this second half.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. What's up, baby?
And now we have that Dallas Skyline 2-3, and here's Ricardo with the ball.
And Artis steals the ball there, driving the other way. No look pass to Chancellor Ellis. 3 in a row, no good there, as Show bringing up the ball for the Finest. Driving inside is going to be Scott, gets an easy right-handed layup, as Brock's going to bring up the ball and trying to slow down this game a little bit.
And you know what, Chancellor Ellis is the definition of a shooter because he's had a string of about 2 or 3 games where he shot a little lull from the three-point line. He shot about 20% over the last 4 games, but he keeps shooting. And that's when the phrase shooters keep shooting comes from. So any young hoopers out there who want to shoot the three ball, just keep shooting.
Now, how many youth coaches are going to be mad about what you just said?
We gotta watch that backside.
And 28.9 remaining right now in this game. And George Brock bringing down the ball for the Skyline as 4 seconds differentiates the shot and game clock here. And Hexum guarded heavily there by Devontae Patterson.
Oh, he's playing with this dude.
And that will be a foul on Patterson, and a blocking foul that is.
No, he gotta go by him. He's dribbling too close. Put it out there.
With just under 10 seconds left, we'll see what Omaha will bring to the defensive end. With 9 seconds, just about 10 seconds left. That's plenty of time, but it looks like we'll be shooting in the bonus. And Lyle Hexum, that's someone who we want to see at the line.
You take it too much, you don't know. Fuck it. Oh yeah, facts, my bad. My bad, I forgot about that last week.
Another instance of the uncensored version of Ricardo Artis.
Hey, at least he apologized for it.
That's true. But this is actually, and you know, it's really interesting, and I love these live sessions because you actually get to see what basketball players, how they talk and how they are in real time. I think that's an important aspect of the game.
Hexum drains both with 9 seconds remaining right now in the game. Shot clock turned off and guarded by Artis. 3-on-3 action right there. Scott trying to go up for the layup, and it's good there with 0.1 seconds left. And that will do it here from the first half as we are going to turn it over to Ryan with a halftime interview with Chancellor Ellis.
I'm bored. I don't even know who I'm guarding.
Here at the half, I'm here with Chancellor Ellis. Chance, you were lighting it up from the
I
three-point
won.
line.
He's scoring too much.
Differently about this game than you felt about the game.
But number 2, a good basketball player. As now JC Show brings up the ball for Omaha's finest. Bounce pass to KJ Scott over to Patterson on the right side of the floor. 3 ball is good, and they start off hot. As right now the Skyline have a 13-point lead. Brock guarded by Patterson. Gives it to Hexum.
And we'll see if we get a little bit more action from Lyle Hexum. Kind of a quiet first half for Lyle. Went 8 points on 2 for 6 shooting and over 2 from the three-point lane. We'll see if he fires up a little bit here. As we've seen, he is a second-half performer, so we'll see what he has in store for us today.
And I was just about to say that. We've seen a lot of times in the second half where he'll come out and just start shooting lights out, especially if he locks in from deep, it's game over.
Oh, yeah.
Show with the ball for the finest, gives it to Jenkins, over to Scott. Scott gives it to Patterson again in the right hand side of the floor. No good there, rebounded by Malachi Davidson.
That corner three is what Omaha's been trying to get fired up all game long.
Inside to Hexum, it's finally good.
We saw in the first half, Omaha trying to get the three-point game going. The only person really being productive from out there is JC Show, but he has lit the floor up going 3 for 4.
And Davidson bringing up now the ball for the Skyline. Gives it to Artis. KJ Scott with the ball for the finest, driving inside, almost swatted away from Artis there as we heard the backboard. And Brock bringing it down the other way. Brock guarded by Scott, stolen away by Jenkins. We have a 2-on-1 fast break. And Brock almost there stole the ball, but still going to be Omaha's ball.
Yeah.
Show for 3, no good there. Rebounded by Patterson, as that will be an easy bucket for the finest, as it's now an 11-point lead.
And this is a relatively small lineup for Dallas Skyline. We've seen pretty big lineups with Lyle Hexum. There he goes. As I said, we've seen Lyle Hexum coming up with Will Benjamin and Leto Cole and vice versa. But it's interesting seeing them go with a guard-centric lineup. We'll see if she makes any changes as Skyline goes on a negative run.
Yeah.
And KJ Scott going to try to convert on the end one here.
Huh?
And he does convert on the M1.
Come on.
And you see
Hexum with the ball. It's stolen there by Jenkins.
Up.
And Jenkins loses the ball there. But they say it's tipped out by Malachi Davidson.
now here's where Dallas Skyline is going to have to go against the grain a little bit. We've already gone on a quick 8-2 run where the lead has been cut down to 10, and we've seen Dallas.
Illegal screen, by the way, also.
We'll see if Dallas can play with the lead. For the past few games, they've struggled keeping leads, particularly against the Houston game a few weeks ago, or last week rather.
Hey,
where they lost by
Maverick.
just 2 points. So we'll see if they can play with this lead as they struggled. But now with our Ricardo Artis, we'll see if they can be able to do that this game.
And Davidson with the ball now for the Skyline on the right side of the floor. Driving inside, and one there for Malachi Davidson. As the Kilgore product will go to the line, and things are getting chirpy again.
That's Ramon Jenkins.
Now the question is, will they dish out a technical? I would imagine, as we can see here, Coach Davidson not happy that no call was given on that shove to Davidson. And Artis tries to put it back up, no good there.
You think Ricardo was looking for a foul there?
And stolen away. Here we go.
Let's hear it, Ricardo.
Golly!
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
He fouling the shit out of me. Wow, Jenkins. I wouldn't lie. If I'm lying, I'm flying. I ain't lying, Jenkins.
There we have it.
I ain't lying on that one.
Ricardo Artis is not a liar, ladies and gentlemen. Not a liar.
You know, one thing I noticed from, I'll just let him talk right now. No good on the fadeaway there. One thing I do notice about Ricardo Artis is when he usually has the ball, he hardly will talk.
You better. You're going to die by that shit. You're going to die by that shit.
Oh.
Live and die by it. Die by it. Die by it.
Oh, we're here to hear that this time.
Number 3.
Davidson driving inside. Left-hand layup is good.
But you know what, Ramon Jenkins, being put in by Omaha, he's been holding down the paint pretty well. He's a big body, and he can line up with Lyle Hexum, and he can line up probably with Leto Cole if he goes back in the game. So it's a big injection in here of him. He's proven to be a really good player and proven to be a good asset in this game.
Hexum gets the rebound, but they're going to call that out of bounds. Still Skyline ball. And now we will have to see what Ortiz says off the bench, which should be pretty interesting. And that's one thing that I think is both good and bad about this, is this is very uncensored.
This is his full self.
Now the question is, when that 3-minute video goes out, are we going to hear bleeps?
You know, that's going to be a good question. I would imagine so. There's Smith.
Hey, find it.
Picking up right where Artis left off.
Change my whole fucking. Hey, that's my spot. I can't go back out like that.
And here we go, Davidson. Davidson takes flight there. And that will be a timeout for the Finest. 84-70 is the score, 7:27 remaining in this third quarter as we hear Ricardo over
Come on,
there.
Mr. Davidson!
He is making our job easy today.
Come on. They make a little run. That's all they got. It's the last little push they got.
Most of the time we have to fill in the dead time, but thankfully we have Ricardo to do that for us.
And you know, one thing that we've seen time and time again today is Dallas Skyline changing up their different lineup strategies. So we've seen them go big, we've seen them go small, and every time it's making Omaha adapt to that, because Omaha will put in a lineup that can compete with the lineup that's in, and then when they take out this lineup, they go big, but Omaha just went small to run with them. But like you mentioned earlier, when Dallas Skyline goes big, their bigs can run. Lyle Hexum can run. Will Benjamin can run. Leto Cole can run. And we can also
You'd be surprised how quick Alito Cole is. You'd be very, like, for his size, I believe, what, 6'8", 240, he can run pretty fast.
He is a fast guy. And getting hit by him is like getting hit with a freight train.
Yeah.
We've seen it earlier. He's clearing out space on the lane, and when he gets going, it's hard to stop. And we've seen little snippets here and there of him going off for 6-point runs, and we've seen him go off for really big rebounding games too. I believe his season high is 11. And you know, he comes in, another example of one of those Skyline role players. He comes in, does his job, and they come out with a good game.
My son, you good.
Let's see. Have a couple in-game promotions usually during the game now. The question is, will they, I guess they're not going to do the in-game promotion during this timeout.
That is something hard with game operations. It's hard to manage, you know, the timeout ones. Quarters and quarters and halftime breaks, those are a little bit easier.
Yeah.
But so a big thing here, and with Dallas Skyline trying to emulate the NBA type games, is, you know, it's a huge thing. Everybody's trying to have a good time. Prescott really is trying to make sure everybody has a good time. So hats off to the Dallas Skyline owners and administrating staff.
And you know, another thing that a lot of people don't take into account is just how much the players really want to get back on the floor and having to figure out how to manage the time, what to do between timeouts for promotions, which ones you want to, because I would say give or take, especially for most NBA teams, they have about probably 20 in-game promotions. Now for the Skyline, that's probably more so towards about 8 of them.
Exactly.
And it's just about filling in those times. And I mean, we don't see many timeouts called, honestly, in this league, especially today there's not many, and that's hard to plan for. But some days you have where it's just going to play out, and there will be a ton of timeouts, a ton of fouls, and then some days it's just play on, you know. As now the Finest will bring down the ball. Patterson inside to Patterson. That duo has been pretty alive tonight so far, as George Brock is going to bring up the ball.
And, you know, with Dallas Skyline going with a smaller lineup, they got to keep up with the rebounding numbers. Both teams rebounding at about 30 rebounds per team, but Dallas Skyline's used to out-rebounding teams.
And that will be a foul on Brandon Jones, as we are about to see Will Benjamin check back into the game.
I'm curious to see who he's going to come in for. Is he going to come in for Lyle and go with a relatively similar lineup, or are we going to see a bigger lineup as he comes in for one of the guards?
I'm thinking he comes in for Malachi Davidson. That's just my prediction right now. No, he's actually going to go for Smith, so going to keep a similar lineup, or very similar lineup.
Fairly similar, and I think what you'll see is Chancellor Ellis is going to take that Denzel Smith big wing line role, because he's been hot from the three-point line, and so we're going to see if they're going to keep feeding him.
Show with the ball, gives it over to Patterson. Back to Show. Show from the logo, and it's good. And I'm telling you, what we talked about coming into the second half is to not let him get hot, because when he is, we have seen how well he can light it up from three.
Hey, ref! Hey! Let go!
You know, I was about to say about a minute ago, it's been a while since we've heard from Ricardo, and there he was.
But nonetheless, he will return.
Davidson with the ball, guarded heavily by Show.
Show one of those 3-and-D guys, and he takes his role very
does,
seriously.
yeah. And Show gets the steal there. Going the other way is Patterson. Patterson driving inside, kind of stiff-arming there, Davidson. And I'm surprised they don't call anything on that.
Ricardo Ortiz is definitely.
You say less.
Definitely.
I'm going to push that nigga to the stand.
Oh.
Well,
I'm pushing him to the stands. I don't give a damn. Who hear me? He going to the stands. We playing football. Say less. He 5'2", and y'all know he using that other hand.
well, there is Malachi, or I'm sorry, there is Ricardo Artis. And
So,
while we definitely missed his on-court presence, we should have had him mic'd up all season long from the bench.
Smokey Robinson. Hot smoke.
Honestly, I think next season we have to tell Prescott to just mic up Ricardo every single game if he's back.
Got to. He has got to. He should be the go-to guy for mic'd up every time.
If somehow we can get a small earpiece in his ear just to talk to him in the game, that would be interesting too.
That would be awesome.
I don't know how that would work though in basketball, to be honest. Like, I've seen it with baseball, that's a little bit easier, but basketball being such a physical sport, I don't know how that would work. But then again, it's working pretty well for a mic so far.
It has done well. I'm not entirely sure what the call was. I'm not sure if he will get another shot or not.
And, you know, I think this is kind of expected, really, when we were talking in the pregame about just how inconsistent the referees seem today. So Patterson taking the shot. No good on the second. And George Brock bringing it the other way. He's going to drive inside to the right. No good there. Rebounded by Patterson.
But you know what? That's okay because George Brock started the first half not so hot, but finished off really strong as he's going to have a chance to go. And there it is. We'll have a timeout on the court.
He called a timeout. Yeah, come on, man. Hey.
Some people go to their referee experts when there's a question on the court. We
just go to Ricardo.
Get on that rim, I'll throw that hole off the backboard. Good pass, stop that.
It looks like Omaha's going to question the call. And now we'll get that in-game promotion that we were talking about.
I'm pretty sure we've had no one make this, so this would be, if he makes this, I'm going wild. Let's see. Good shot. Oh. Those poor Princeton cheerleaders are getting Oh, they're giving him a second shot. Well, I guess, yeah, since they didn't let him last time, they gave him two. Let's see. Here he goes. Oh, no.
And it's off.
Are they giving it? They're giving him pretty. Oh.
And now we'll welcome the
Oh, here we go, another one. He's missing, it's just getting worse. It's just getting worse.
Shout out to Bliss Treatery, by the way. I had a chocolate chip cookie from Bliss Treatery earlier. Woo, did it hit the spot.
Oh, I had one in halftime over here. There was an Oreo one. Oh my goodness, that was one of the best cookies I've ever had in my life. I don't know whose cookie this is over here, but I'm just saying, if it's there at the end of the game.
It's yours.
Oh. You heard there, Ricardo making a little bit of a beat over there.
You know, Ricardo's all about having fun and having a good time, and that's precisely what we want here at Dallas Skyline.
I'm just waiting for the time if we're going to hear Ricardo do a little bit of karaoke. I'm not going to lie.
I'm surprised we haven't yet.
Right? That's what I'm saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh, here we go.
Yes, sir.
He's coming back in. I'm really excited for this duo that's coming right now. We have Richard McCallum and Ricardo Ortiz coming in. I'm excited to see what they have lined up.
I feel like, honestly, they could be a really good duo because I feel like their play styles very, very similar and really go well together with each other. I think they'll blend pretty well.
That's going to be good. I'm excited to see it. It'll be interesting who they come in for, too, because if they play with Chancellor Ellis, he has potential to get some racked up threes in the transition game.
Hexham with the ball.
And that'll be a foul.
And that's going to be a foul. And we're going to see both McCallum and Ortiz check into the game. It looks like for Ellis, and is it going to be Hexham? It's going to be Hexham.
And see, on that last play by Will Benjamin, I don't think it was a foul, but you got to understand here, Will, when you play a big lineup against a small lineup, if the small lineup can sell those fouls, they'll get the benefit of the doubt every time on the bigger defender.
Absolutely. Patterson bringing up the ball now for the Finest, gives it over to Streeter. Streeter guarded by Dyer. Driving inside is going to be Patterson. Patterson no good there. Miscue, and Ortiz somehow comes out with the ball there. Davidson driving inside. That's going to be a foul.
Oh, that's a fucking foul. Yeah. Oh, it's you?
Things getting a little chippy again down there.
I had gave that hole up earlier, though. Like, right when I got it, I threw that
Look
hole.
at this lineup, though, because this is still a pretty big lineup. You've got McCallum, who's every bit of 6'6". You've got Benjamin, who's every bit of 6'8". two 6'4" guards in Elton Dyer and Ricardo Artis, and then at point guard, you get Malachi Davidson. Maybe this isn't the biggest lineup you got, but this is one crazy athletic lineup. And it's anchored down by Will Benjamin. So I'm curious to see what kind of offense they're going to run. Look for a man-to-man offense with a lot of pressure.
Streeter kicks the ball off his foot. Going the other way is going to be Davidson. Davidson
pull that three.
Doesn't take the three,
Foul.
though.
Foul.
Goes inside. No good there. Rebounded and brought down the lane by Patterson. Patterson goes up, and it's good there.
Boy, you 5'2", hell no.
Oh, man, you gotta love Ricardo. Once I heard the and one, I just knew something was coming from him. Artis, oh, man, that would have been a nice one.
That's what we were talking about right there.
And going the other way. See, this time they did scram.
They did. They knew it was coming. But that's what we were talking about right there. Is can McCallum and Artis be a good duo? And you saw right there, they're on the same page. Ricardo just giving a little bit of a bad pass. And we saw McCallum's ups. Those were some hops we saw. That's the Harlem Globetrotter ups right there.
Patterson driving inside, stolen away.
Watch out,
and Dyer's going to be bringing it the other way for the Skyline. A little bit of a Euro step there, and a very nice Euro step, too. A little Luka action right there.
That's how we do it in Dallas. Everybody knows how to do the Euro here in Dallas.
Considering also the Dallas Mavericks are basically Team Europe at this point.
That's true. That is very true. Good
Show there, no good for three. And rebounded there by Benjamin and brought down the other way. Dyer with the ball, gives it out to Davidson. Davidson calling from a screen from Benjamin. Pick and roll. Gonna give it inside to Artis and up and under. I like the celebration there from Artis. I don't know if you saw it. The little John Cena. Going the other way. That's gonna be a foul.
Now we hear KJ Scott coming back in the game, trying to lead this comeback from Omaha. KJ's a dangerous player though. Right now at 18 points, shooting 7 for 16, 1 for 3 from the three-point line. If he gets hot, this could be problematic for Dallas.
He's definitely the finest spark plug, and we've seen it all tonight, especially in that first half.
I lay on front because I got back to recover. Me and you got to be one of.
It's like they in an odd position.
Yeah. Either me or you got to stay back, or one of us.
First is no good there.
Big man Roman Jenkins coming back in. He was problematic for Dallas. We'll see if Will Benjamin can be a little bit better of a matchup. Roman Jenkins, an athletic big
Rich.
man. Every bit of 6'7".
Hey, Elton, go right now. Will, come on. There you go.
And here's,
Get all the way back.
here he
Hey,
is, Artis,
Hey, Elton,
coach on the
you
floor.
stand up. You want to drop back, Rich?
Little
Drop
bit of
back
a
right.
voice crack there.
Good money.
He's been talking all game.
Drop back right. Drop back
I
right.
don't blame him.
But this is how much you young hoopers, if you're listening, this is how much you should be talking on the floor. If you're a floor leader like Ricardo Artis is, you should be talking every bit of the game.
Exactly. And that's going to be a foul. I believe that will be going on. So that will be going on Benjamin.
White.
And one thing I'm already seeing from Richard McCallum's game is that possibly that free throw, that could be a massive downside right now. I believe, let's see here, he is trying to find his stats specifically. Currently 2 for 4, or actually, I believe 2 for 5 on threes. Or free throws, sorry.
Oh my
Davidson
God.
driving
oh my God.
inside.
Ref. Oh my God.
JC Show over in the corner, good jump there. And a nice pump fake from JC Show gets Dyer to go. And Show converts from 3.
And there's that corner three again. That corner three that Omaha lives and dies by. With just over a minute to go, we'll see what Dallas Skyline can do to close out this third.
Artis long three, no good there. Rebounded by Jenkins and given to KJ Scott. Scott goes up with a double clutch. 20 on the night for him.
Slow down, slow down, slow down. Slow down.
Him and George Brock this game both have 20.
Hey, it's too crowded. We all got to go through right here. I swear I'm bailing them out all the time. I swear to God. I understand.
And here's Artis talking to Coach Angela. Now talking to Coach Finest. Ricardo's definitely excited to be back.
I understand, though. That's what I'm saying.
In this final 4-game stretch of the season, trying to get into the to the playoffs. As we know, the top 4 teams will go.
My bad, y'all got to drop.
Omaha's 4th right now.
Yeah, I was just about to mention that.
Because
they're not stopping me.
12.
I'm just pulling up because I'm there.
So this is a must-win. Dallas really needs to win out.
Really? Come over here. These niggas is not even playing me for real. You know what I'm saying?
Again,
This nigga's not even
apologies
playing
for
me for
any
real.
explicit language Ricardo may use, but again, that's just how basketball players talk.
Yeah, facts. Facts.
And Davidson good on his second. Patterson with the ball for the Finest, tries to give it in the corner to JC Show, but that will be out of bounds and should be still Finest ball.
Omaha looking for a foul, but nowhere to be found, but it will be Omaha ball, and we'll see what they can do with 12 seconds left on the shot clock.
What happened? What the hell?
Patterson with the ball, gives it inside. KJ Scott in the corner for 3, no good there. Rebounded by McCallum and given up to Dyer. Dyer's gonna go up, and it's good there on the layup. KJ Scott, 15 seconds on the shot clock.
Oh! I saw that one. He leaned that one a little bit, though.
And that will be, I believe, a foul on Malachi Davidson.
Hey, that one 50-50 because he put it. That one 50 because he put his head down.
Ricardo having a meeting with the official.
Hold on, I missing calls all day. Come on, man. That nigga missing calls all day. I don't even know if they here. I don't even know if they here, honestly. I forgot we had them. That's why I'm just talking to him.
Chatting it up with Omaha.
Hey, Matt, Warrior.
So taking a look at Omaha's schedule for the rest of the year, they got to play Little Rock twice and then Houston.
That'll be Houston will be a tough game. Little Rock's no team to play with either.
And with 12 seconds remaining in the third quarter, Davidson's going to have the ball.
Go, stay on that side. Stay on that side.
Seconds, we'll see what he chooses to do.
Goes up, no good there. And that will be end of the end of the third quarter here. 188 is your score. Now, taking a look, you know, we see that Omaha's schedule is pretty tough to say the least, but also for the Dallas Skyline, they have a fairly tough schedule. Now they have to play Louisville twice, who they lost their last contest to by 20 points. And speaking of 12-point lead right now for the Skyline, 188 is your score. And right now we talk about those other two opponents for both teams. Enid is second in the Central Division. Houston's number 1 in the division. And right now, Louisville is tied for 5th with the Dallas Skyline, and Little Rock is just under Louisville. So a very big competition going into this playoff run.
Definitely is, and it's tough, and the whole division really has been tough. You've seen Louisville step up, though they're out of playoff contention. They're still chugging through the season, trying to play their hardest. And that's what I really love about TBL, because even if you don't make the playoffs, all these players are trying to get seen. That's what you love about a showcase league like this. Everybody's going to be playing hard until the very end, whether you have playoff potential or not.
Orange to red.
Now we'll see Ricardo Artis playing the point guard. See how he can lead the team on the floor.
Jenkins with the ball inside, stolen away, and Artis is going to bring it up the left side of the floor. And stolen there by Patterson. And right now, a 3-on-0 fast break, and it's going to end with Patterson slamming it home for the Finest. Ellis with the ball for the Skyline.
Can he find Will Benjamin? No, he won't, but Ricardo Artis will be there in the short corner, looking for a foul, but didn't get it.
Show bringing it the other way for the Finest. Nice pass there to Jenkins, and that's going to cut the lead to single digits for the Finest, as Ellis is going to bring up the ball for the Skyline. Screen there by Benjamin as we're about to have Denzel Smith, and now almost missed that layup there, but
George Brock is going to come in to play point guard for this team. A struggling team going on a run at Omaha Finest. They are a very streaky team. Now the downside of that is that when you go on runs, you always go on negative runs too. But the big part is when you go on a run, you can go on a huge run, and Omaha is great at that.
And it looks like we'll have our in-game promotion of Prescott taking on an unlucky fan here.
We'll see, last week we saw Prescott commit a huge turnover, which he will admit himself is a cardinal sin. So let's see what he can do today. Trying to post up Prescott here, maybe the best move. Oh, that probably is a travel, I'm not gonna lie. Oh, fadeaway. Oh. And that's the big thing. If you want to beat Prescott, you got to post him up. And if you want to stop Prescott, don't let him shoot. And you just got to make him
care
drive.
for his phone whatsoever.
You got to make Prescott shoot a contested layup.
I'm hoping that Prescott didn't crack his phone screen, just how.
He may have. So he'll get $25 because Prescott can't finish.
Hey, is the phone screen good?
It's almost over, son.
The phone screen good?
That's me.
Oh, fair enough.
So Ricardo Artis will get a bit of a break.
So George Brock here in front of us about to check in the ball for the Skyline with 10:31 remaining in this game. Or sorry, it's going to be Chancellor Ellis, but it will be inbounded to George Brock. And
let's look at this lineup, though. Lado Cole, Lyle Hexum, Denzel Smith, and Chancellor Ellis. You got 4 forwards in the game, and the primary ball handler is going to be George Brock.
Now, not to mention you have 4 very athletic forwards in this game. 3 seconds remaining on the shot clock. Brock's going to have to chuck up something, and that will be a shot clock violation. And those are the costly turnovers that the Skyline right now just cannot make.
And so here's where leadership is going to come in. Can George Brock, Malachi Davidson, and Ricardo Artis step up and lead this fourth quarter push, which has now been a competitive game, just cutting the lead to 6 points in Omaha, and now on this run, we'll see what changes they're going to make.
Scott gives to Patterson on the wing there, and it's good.
There it is. They will, like I said at the beginning of the game, they will live and die by that three-point corner shot.
And I believe that will bring it into 4. Now, that actually was not a 3. Apparently, it was a very long 2 there, as he probably had his foot on the line. And a very lucky break there as Malachi Davidson is about to check back into the game. And the question is, who is Davidson going to check in this game for? Is he going to be Chancellor Ellis? Or is he going to come in and get one of the forwards? So Patterson will go to the line. Or actually, sorry, it will be a jump ball. don't know why I thought he was going to the line because they're going the complete opposite way.
Yeah, I just got up. Where we go?
And here's
Well,
Ricardo.
here comes Ricardo.
Where we go?
So Ricardo's artist coming back into the game now for the Skyline.
I'm going to get back aggressive. Fuck it.
The referee's having to sort out more problems on the court. It's been a chippy game.
I'm surprised nothing's broken out yet.
Omaha
It's been there twice already almost. KJ Scott with the ball gives it to Patterson. A little push there, no foul. Driving inside and a nice finish there
We'll see how long
from
this
Brandon
goes.
Jones.
There's Denzel Smith.
No good there. Gets his own rebound though. He's gonna try to drive inside. And they're gonna call a crucial travel on that, as it is a 2-point game right now. And Davidson and Artis should be checking back at the game for Alito Cole and Chancellor Ellis.
Hey, move. I see it.
I
Move. 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 I got you.
So now we'll have George Brock, Chancellor Ellis, Ricardo Artis, Malachi Davidson, and Lyle Hexum, the starters for tonight, are back, checking back in the game.
KJ Scott going up with the layup, no good there. Rebounded though by Streeter, and Patterson's gonna get the ball, gives it over to KJ Scott. Scott goes up for the three, and that'll be 2 shots at the line, they're gonna say, as he had his foot on the line, and that would be a foul on Lyle Hexum.
And I don't know if anybody caught this, but as Lyle Hexum fell on the floor, Malachi Davidson rushing over, literally picking up Lyle Hexum. That's an instance of great leadership by Malachi Davidson, as we talked about just now, as we go into this.
And Will Benjamin is about to check into the game. And a great mopping job over here from our PA announcer.
No way he just fouled him out there. Pump fake. 2 pump fake fouls? That's you. He's in your bag.
One could say he
Come
looks
here,
like
Willow.
Tyler Perry.
Switch for me. Switch for me. Get back. It's wet right there.
And first shot is good there for KJ Scott, as now it is a 1-point game.
I said that was good pump fake. He fouled your ass. I'm saying, why he fouled you out there?
Right now, KJ Scott has 22 points in this matchup.
So with 9 minutes left in the game, this has really turned in from a safe bet on Skyline to anybody's game.
Yeah. Keep in mind, a little more than about 3 minutes ago, it was a 12-point ball game. And right now, I believe it is an 11-0 run right now for the Finest. And they tie the game. So they have came all the way back tonight. Largest lead for the Skyline was 18 at one point. And if the Finest were to take the lead, that would be the first time tonight they would do so. As Davidson has the ball.
And here's Chancellor
Ellis
from
for
the
three. Bang! And Chancellor Ellis there.
Look, that's a tech. He can't do all that. Tech him.
Here's a technical foul on the coach. He's halfway on the court.
I definitely call that whole forfeit.
So that will bring Chancellor Ellis
Hey, Chad.
to the line.
Yeah.
Now that was a very questionable call. They do have every right to argue that. Even I was very questionable about that.
And we'll have a timeout on the floor before the shot. And I think we're going to have Chancellor Ellis shooting the free throw. We'll see. I can't imagine anybody else. Chancellor Ellis is an 88% free throw shooter.
These referees are about to be very interesting in this.
I want you out there, but I gotta have that board or a box out for a foul. Are we clear? It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter who it is. So first of all, that won't even happen we stop letting this man catch the ball and go right. I said make the ball go left. Get it in your head. Your team going left. The guy kicked the ball was number Streeter, who was left hand down.
And Omaha is struggling, trying to figure out why he got a technical foul call.
Now I'm thinking it's because he was on the court. I feel like that is the reason, but I'm not necessarily sure. And it sounds like that is why the technical foul was called.
And you know what? I gotta say, I understand not wanting to have the coaches on the court.
Yeah.
But
in such a high crucial point in this game,
Exactly.
you don't blame him. I don't blame him whatsoever.
Sometimes you gotta let stuff go.
And a very questionable call.
I agree, and you know he didn't say anything to any of the Skyline players, but nonetheless, that was the call that was made. We respect the decision by the referee in the TBL.
He gave
So,
you.
we'll see what happens.
Yeah.
So Chancellor does not hit.
And that's crucial, remaining a one-possession game. But that's the guy that you want at the line is Chancellor Ellis. He's been hot from the field. He just caught an unlucky break. Like I said, 88% free throw shooter. By far and away is the best free throw shooter and three-point shooter by that on the team.
Now necessarily, do you know where he ranks as far as the TBL?
He does rank in the top 20. I believe he's number 12. But up until last week when he had a less than ideal stop time from the line, he was number 8.
Wow.
So
As there, Benjamin goes up and makes it still a three-point game.
Hey, look, what? Willow.
Streeter with the ball inside to Patterson. Patterson right over there, right over Benjamin.
Here we go, Coach Angela directing to slow down the game a little bit.
Brock with the ball, 20 points in the matchup for him. Inside to Benjamin, goes to Ellis. Ellis gonna drive inside. And that's gonna be are they calling a charge or a block on
I
this?
couldn't tell. If anybody saw the referee's motion,
That's why I'm thinking it's a charge.
I believe they called block, but the motion was
A charge.
The motion was definitely charged, but it was called block, and he will have a chance to convert the
I know he
and
don't
one.
move that quick. Get off my man.
And that's why I was so thrown off, because it's such a different motion. How it's kind of like a hammer to the floor for a charge, and then
strange.
a block is just two hands to the waist.
And nonetheless, the call will be resolved. So now Chancellor House will have a chance to redeem himself for that law at the line earlier.
And hopefully make it a two-possession game.
We can hope. But Chancellor Ellis is the man to do it. It looks good.
And
it's in.
converts there, makes up for his miscue earlier. So Patterson with the ball right now for the Finest, as he's going to try to give it over to KJ Scott, who's had a heck of a game so far, 26 points on the night for him. And make that 28, possibly 29.
And you know what, we've talked about this in previous weeks, but having Lyle Hexum on the team is really beneficial come these late game situations, because he's a big that can hit free throws,
I
can
guess it was
rebound,
red right there.
and can protect the rim. So it's really beneficial to have somebody like him. As many bigs in TBL and many bigs on the Dallas Skyline roster do struggle from the line. So a great asset to have here late in the fourth quarter.
I was at the top of the key. That's the backside help right there.
And KJ Scott does not make 29, as that's going to be rebounded by Lyle Hexum. And that's another reason why Lyle Hexum is so crucial, is just his rebound game. Not only that, but just, like you said, how well he can hit from the deep three ball. Inside, Patterson slams it home. And we got still a tie ball game right now. Patterson has an 23-point night. Ellis for three, and it converts.
There he is. Make that 5 3-pointers on the night. 15 points from beyond the arc, and he's got 22.
Patterson, 3 of his own, and it's good.
That's a good ass shot.
Refs call that a 2.
And as Ricardo Artis said, that's a pretty good shot.
It is, and Omaha can shoot. Omaha is a fine shooting team.
They are called the Finest for a reason.
That's very true.
Ellis with the ball, guarded heavily by Jones. Driving inside. Oh, gets a good pass off to Lyle Hexum, but stolen away there, and Jenkins is going to bring it down. Gives it to Scott. Scott, great pass to Jenkins. And for the first time tonight, the Finest are going to take the lead with 6:08 remaining in this ballgame.
Come on, come on.
Now we'll see some floor spacing, trying to get Malachi Davidson room to get on the inside.
Davidson pulls up for three. It's good! Cashing in from downtown is Malachi Davidson.
And that's the guy who's going to lead. We've seen in games where the game is practically over, but Malachi Davidson goes on 6-0, 8-0 runs on his own.
Jenkins stolen away there by Artis. And here we go, Malachi Davidson taking flight. And right away, the Finest go right back. Patterson goes up with the ball, no good. No good there as Jenkins slams it home. And that's why you can't celebrate too early, especially with this Finest team, because they are right back down the line.
They are a fast-paced team.
Inside to Artis. Artis.
And here's
Ellis
That's
in the corner. No good there. Rebounded by Patterson, brought down the other way by Jenkins. Gives it to Patterson. Patterson driving inside. Guarded heavily, and that's going to be a foul on Malachi Davidson.
And while that may seem like a tough call to somebody watching or anybody seeing that clip, that's been the calls on the night. That's been what people have called. So not really too surprising there that that was the call. The refs have been calling it tight.
Now, something to keep in mind here going forward with 4:53 remaining in this ballgame, both Malachi Davidson and KJ Scott have 5 fouls in this game. Both crucial pieces to both of these teams.
This game turned. This is what TBL basketball about right here.
There you go.
This is what it's all about right here.
Couldn't have said it better, Ricardo. Couldn't have said it better.
Ricardo Ortiz, 14 points on 7 of 13 shooting.
Hey, look at that.
Malachi Davidson, 26
What is
points leading
that?
Skyline. But Chancellor Ellis having 22
What's
points,
up, boy?
going 5 of 8 from the three-point line.
What's up, gang? You got 6 bangs. You got 26, 6 bangs. Oh, no, hell no. 7 rebounds. Damn, what bar you want? You want a triple-double like Bron out here, bro. This nigga's greedy, bro. Yeah, I did.
Artis there chirping it up there with Patterson. Speaking of which, the other Patterson does not hit his first from the line.
I think Ricardo Artis may have just said he has a triple-double, but I certainly won't be the person to break it to him that he has not recorded a triple-double.
Yeah. Ricardo?
I'll let him think that.
Yeah, Ricardo right now is about 6 assists away and 6 rebounds away. So quite a ways to go.
Devontae Patterson just 4 assists, or 5 assists away rather, from a triple-double himself. We'll see if he can record that. Nonetheless, 1-point game.
And stolen away, but costly turnover. And a very costly turnover there by the Finest.
And that's 6 on KJ Scott. And that's huge.
Fuck.
Well, that may be 5.
That should be 6.
Looks like scoreboard waiting for confirmation from the ref. That's 6. That is.
Yeah, that is 6. So KJ Scott finishes the night with 28 points in this game. 1 for 4 from 3, but 9 for 17 from the field, 3 rebounds and 3 assists, as well as 1 steal. A heck of a game for him.
And it looks like Omaha has a disagreement with the stats.
Good. You gave me like 3 already. You didn't count.
So we'll see how this gets resolved. I believe we've been keeping up, and
Yeah, it was.
if our stats are correct, that should be his 6th. But the disagreement is whether or not the stats are accurate. So we'll see. Another thing to point out, though, is Devin Patterson also has 5. So we'll see how this plays out with KJ Scott now fouled out.
Now, one thing I wish you could do here on the website is filter out the fouls, and then we can figure that out.
That's me.
A 2-point game.
I ain't shot free throws.
Right now, pretty good attendance for tonight's game, 500 here for tonight's matchup. And Show with the ball. Show gives it out in the corner. Patterson, no good. Rebounded by Hexum. With 4:17 remaining in this ball game, gives it to Chancellor Ellis. He's gonna pull up. Bang! Bang!
And there he is, 6 on the night. Shooting 66% from the 3-point line. And Chancellor Ellis came to play.
And Patterson answers back with one of his own.
Respect.
And both the 10s right now going back and forth. Now, a fun fact about both of them is they both went to Prairie View A&M.
Prairie View A&M has proven to give some good shooters. Here's Chancellor Ellis.
Spin move. Woo! What a spin move there by Chancellor Ellis.
Chancellor Ellis with 27 points on the night.
Oh, a good move there by Patterson. And talk about a night from both of these guys. Patterson right now has 30 on the night. And that's going to be a charge. And finally, they get the right signal for them.
A charge called on Ricardo.
And there may go the mic.
Oh, never fear. We can still hear you, Ricardo. He may not want us to hear him right now, but rest assured we can.
I'm not going to lie to you. When he went down, kind of hurt my eardrums a little.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Even like the volume on my headphones is pretty low, but I can still hear that pretty loud.
Now with 122 to 120, Omaha will have a chance to tie and potentially take the lead here. Interesting decision to keep Malachi Davidson off the floor, but with 6-0, but Malachi Davidson fouled out of the game. No, 5 fouls, rather, my apologies. With 5 fouls, I would imagine Coach Angelo wants to keep him off until absolutely needed. You got to ask yourself, how long does she keep him out? Key player in this game, 26 points, 9 for 16 shooting, 3 for 4 from 3.
Jenkins with the ball right now for the Finest, gives it to Patterson. Patterson, step back shot, no good there. Rebounded by Dyer and brought the other way now. And right now, Brock gives it inside to Hexum. That will be an and one there. And that is a clutch shot there by Hexum as he draws the foul.
So he'll be able to push this to a 5-point lead. Malachi Davidson will now come in the game along with Richard McCullough.
I need that fall though. That's what I need.
Chancellor Ellis will come out. He may be done for the night, but 27 points, 10 for 16 from the field, and 6 for 9 on the 3-point game. And George Brock will come out. Looks like there will be a timeout, so we'll see what adjustments are going to come out. But Max, here's what I'm going to be looking forward to in the closing 3 minutes left is Do you slow the game down, one, or do you keep it fast-paced? And if we're going to keep it fast-paced, how long until we see George Brock back in the game?
Exactly, and that's a big question that you have to ask because both the Skyline, we've seen them being able to really dominate the slow game, but as well, they have done a great job at getting fast-paced play, especially when they run a very big lineup. The question becomes, are they trying to limit right now the Finest? Though a very clutch thing for the Skyline right now is that KJ Scott has fouled out of the game, and he's their leading scorer. Behind him, I believe, well, actually in front of him, sorry, is Devontae Patterson with 32 points on the night. But besides him, they also have the other Patterson, Devin Patterson, with 19 points on the night. So I think at this point, if I'm the Dallas Skyline, you have to limit the Finest the best way you can. And the way they've been doing that tonight is by playing the slow game. We've seen whenever it's fast-paced play, they're going back and forth. Now, on the contrary to that, they aren't a fast-paced team, as we've seen them struggle very heavily against a big lineup that prides itself in fast-paced play. So really, if you're the Dallas Skyline, you can play this either or, and it will possibly work in your favor, though you have to run the risk of it not working. But thankfully, with KJ Scott in the lineup, that probably mitigates the opportunity for them if they were to play the fast-paced game.
You hit the nail on the head. And another thing Omaha has to fight against is their short team. And I don't mean short in terms of height, I mean short in terms of depth. With only 8 players on the active roster, on the traveling roster at least, versus the Dallas Skyline 12. The Skyline runs a 5-man big rotation and also likes to tamper with play with the small ball game. So they have depth and they have lots of people who can fill in these roles. Omaha does not have that luxury. And also with Devontae Patterson, also now has 4 fouls, as well as Dejon Streeter, who has 4 fouls. Other than that, you don't have too many fouling issues. We'll see if Lyle Hexum can make this a 5-point game.
Now, if we talk about height, right now the Dallas Skyline have 8 guys over 6'6", while the Omaha Finest only have 3. Oh, and a crucial turnover there, and Ricardo Artis doesn't put it back. Ricardo gets his own rebound. And just sloppy basketball on that last play.
It's tough, but Ricardo Artis nonetheless, as his microphone is a bit floppy down there, I'm sure you can care less about that right now.
JC
2.5
show on that one with a nice little floater.
Yes, Malachi Davis is slowing the game down, going to be using every bit of the 24 seconds. Sorry about the mic'd up microphone. Must have fallen out when he took that fall.
And that's going to be a foul on JC Show.
JC Show now has 3. Looks like Artis fixed his microphone. Class A guy, though, helping out the media production team.
Did he fit? I don't know if he fixed it. Maybe he brought it a little bit up. I don't know if he clipped it on him. Oh, he actually did.
Go, Ricardo.
Appreciate it, Ricardo. What is going on?
You gotta be shooting by now.
Oh.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, I'll give you something. Give you something. I'm on out for the season again.
122, just 122, 126, just over 2 minutes to go. Interesting lineup we've got on. We've got Richard McCullough, Malachi Davidson, Elton Dyer, Lyle Hexum, and of course Ricardo Artis.
And right now, if I'm the Skyline, I want McCullough right now in my lineup, just due to his sheer athleticism.
Woo!
And there's a perfect example.
On cue, right on
A perfect
cue.
example of just his athleticism. And that's where it comes from being a Harlem Globetrotter. They don't just take anyone. You have to have,
And
of course.
Jenkins, sorry to cut you off, but Jenkins just got teed up.
Oh,
A bit of blood.
a little bit?
You taking the free throw?
Oh my goodness.
So Ramondo Jenkins will get off, will go head to the locker room with blood on his face. I'm not really sure what happened, but Omaha.
Yeah, with blood on the floor, they're going to have to get someone to come clean it.
Yeah, like we said, things get chippy down here. And now I see why he got the technical. So Ramon Jenkins rather, got a technical for staring down the referee over here, trying to intimidate him. But he looks like he was upset at the no call for getting bloody. I can't say I don't understand why he did that. I do understand what happened. He was upset with the no call. However, as we've seen with these refs, stuff like that will not fly. And so, you know, with Jenkins, you got to ask, was it a justifiable technical that he received, you know?
Yeah, and I'm not going to lie to you, Ramon Jenkins staring down the ref there with the blood on his face kind of looked like a scene out of Gladiator.
It was. I mean, we're behind this table, but
we were very confused what happened. Then he turned his head. We're like, oh my.
That's what he is. I'm not entirely sure how he got the blood on him. Based off player interactions, it looked like he took an elbow to the face by Lyle Hexum on an attempted Euro, but who knows?
Kind of reminds me of, I don't know if you remember when Georges Niang for Iowa State a long time ago.
And he got elbowed in the face.
And of course, I remember that. I'm a big Cyclone fan, so I've got to meet him. Good guy, too. Supposed to follow me on Twitter, never did.
Wow.
That boy is not playing
so Lyle Hexum will shoot 2.
I don't give a damn.
Who is speaking into his mic?
He said no filter.
Oh, he's over here. I was very confused where Ricardo was.
He found some friends on the other bench.
Yeah.
So it looks like Lyle Hexum will shoot 2 for the foul.
Knowing Ricardo, he could be up in the stands at any point.
He could.
That's just his personality. And right now, I do not blame Coach Hollins for being upset with this referee, especially when his player, arguably, I believe, Jenkins is tied with their tallest player in the lineup. Having him come out of the game due to a no call and an elbow, I do not blame him whatsoever.
And another technical foul call on the Omaha coach.
Now,
Ricardo Artis.
And he's gone. And he just got tossed from the game.
Get up. Just stay right. Hey, stay right here, bro. Just stay right here.
So that's the second coach. I'm not entirely sure where head coach went.
Yeah, I thought. Oh, was the other head coach ejected?
The assistant coach just got ejected. And now we have our third coach coaching.
I just realized. Where is the head? I thought.
He may be in the back tending to.
You know what? That probably is.
But you know what? Here's something basketball related we could talk about. Lyle Hexum shooting the free throws. This is what we talked about earlier. Lyle Hexum able to convert his free throws is cute. Well, not quite on cue, but the willingness for him to be the one to shoot the free throws is huge because he's the big man on the court.
Exactly.
And he typically isn't the one shooting the free throws. You know, on other teams, you don't have your big man shooting free throws.
And we see that perfectly with Alito Cole.
Exactly. And Alito would be huge in this situation because who guards Alito? It's pretty hard.
It's impossible. He's pretty much a fridge out there. He's a very athletic 6'8" and all of 240.
But you send him to the line, and he comes out of the game. So what was a 2-point game before the string of free throws that we saw quickly turned into a 7-point game. Back, though, to
makes it a 4-point game.
But KJ Scott's going to take a lead in coaching as well.
So then that becomes the question. If the third coach gets thrown out, who coaches next?
It looks like KJ Scott would be.
Well, would he be allowed to even though he's fouled out?
Oh. Looks like Chancellor Ellis is going to come back in.
Yeah.
Probably for this late game fouling. Looks like he'll come in possibly for Elton Dyer. Elton Dyer may need to relax. We've seen these coaches, or these referees rather, quick with the technicals.
And you know, to be honest, I think we even talked about it. in the before we even got on the air, we thought something was going to happen tonight. Something was just from hearing the referees.
Definitely.
Patterson makes his first and makes it a 3-point lead. And Dyer and McCallum come out of the game for Brock and Ellis. And that should be the end of McCallum's night in his debut. 4 points, 1 for 3 from the field. Also had 2 assists and 2 rebounds. And makes it a 2-point game now. So just a second ago, what was a 7-point game has now come back to a 2-point game. Brock guarded heavily there by Jones. Gives it to Ricardo Artis. Over to Davidson. Davidson for 3. No good there. Rebounded by Streeter. Streeter goes up with the left-hand layup. Tries to tap it in. No good there. Rebounded by Brock. And now gives it over to Ellis with less than a minute remaining in this ball game.
And, you know, fortunately, George Brock got that rebound. But that's the problem when you go small. And there's
Hexum slams it home.
But we'll get a technical foul for a delay of game call. Or was it the delay of game warning? Looks like we'll get
they
another
called
warning.
a delay of game already, so I don't think it'll be a warning.
For hanging on the rim.
And it looks like Jenkins, are they about to get him back in? I'm not sure. I see him in the window over there. It looks like he has his jersey off, so I think he's done for the night. Now Jenkins finished up on the night with 8 points.
And now we have some scoreboard issues. 49.4 seconds left to play. And
Show with the ball.
Show.
3 ball at the top of the key, no good there. And that's gonna go out of bounds.
And they're going to try to get JC Show as many 3-point shots as they can. Look for them to try to get Chancellor Ellis that ball for the late game fouling situation.
Now the question is, are they gonna intentionally foul or just try to play it out? Davidson goes up, no good there. Rebounded by Patterson and brought down the other way. Little bounce pass to Patterson, and now we bring it back to a 2-point game. Shot clock is off, so there will be a foul. There definitely will be a foul on this.
They're going to try to get the 8-second call first, but Angela Davidson calls a timeout.
131, 129 is your score. And now the question, Ryan, is do they try to intentionally foul in this scenario, or do you just hope that the Skyline mess up? Now, the problem is the shot clock is off right now. That's the one thing that is killing the Omaha's finest right now. So what do you do in this scenario?
I think you got to get the foul, and then you got to go for a quick. So it looks like they're in the bonus already. Got to get the foul, go for a quick 2, and get another foul. At this point, you know, like you said, with the shot clock off, it's I don't see another option other than to foul.
Right.
You know, you got to hope. And one thing for Omaha Finest is Dallas Skyline is not a very good free throw shooting team. Like we mentioned, the 3 really diamonds in the rough for the team are going to be Lyle Hexum, Chancellor Ellis, and partially Ricardo Artis. He's a bit streaky from the free throw line, but Omaha Finest is going to play a tight. Look for them to play a tight defense coming out of here, probably man-to-man, to get that steal. If they can get that steal, I think they're going to go for the tie. They could go for the 3-point shot, though, for the win, especially if JC Show gets a good look from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
But they will inbound it from behind from behind half court. And here's Big Chance. Let's go, Chance.
So Chancellor Ellis with the ball, inbounds it to Malachi Davidson. The question is, how much time do they allow to go off? Oh, and almost, I'm surprised no foul there. Yeah, but now they have to, whoa!
But he hit his own, he hit JC Show on that one. It was a big.
Come here, hey, get the trainer. Hey, get the trainer.
That was a
Devin
big
Patterson
hit.
goes down there and flew into the courtside fans there. Could have been even scarier.
And outside, and you know, it's interesting that Chance. It's interesting that Chancellor Ellis was the one to inbound that. I think they wanted to get him they wanted to get him the ball. But they may have, you know, Malachi Davidson is someone that you're okay with getting that ball. He is a fairly good free throw shooter. Malachi Davidson today from the free throw line shooting 5 for 7, 71%, and that's about of par.
So right now, the Finest are down 2 players, well, technically 3, with the fouling out of KJ Scott. Now you have Jenkins out of the game due to injury, and now you have your second leading scorer behind KJ Scott, or that's still on the floor, which is Devin Patterson. Davidson misses the first.
And that's huge. That is really big because Omaha still has a timeout. So even on a miss, Malachi Davidson needs to hit this shot. And he hits it. But they'll call a timeout.
And here we go.
And they're going to look for...
Yep, they are subbing in Elton Dyer. And this is I would imagine Dyer is going to be on JC's show right now.
Has to be. Elton Dyer is one of the best defenders you will see in the game. He routinely guards. You saw last week against Mike Lenore. He guarded like Mike Lenore practically the whole game. He guarded him for about, I believe the stat was 36 minutes. And so it'll be huge to see. I agree. He's got to guard JC Show. He's been guarding KJ Scott for the duration of this game. But as KJ Scott's out, and he's a huge player that they're missing right now. But JC Show is going to be the man to go.
Now we take a look at just what Elton Dyer has done guarding KJ Scott, limited him to 47% from the field. Now, for JC Show in this game, he is 71% from the three-point line. And as we've seen, Dyer this entire game has been heavily on the defensive front, even though this game he has posted, I believe, 4 points on the night, but mainly it's been on the defensive front.
And Devontae Patterson, another player you're going to have to watch. He's shooting 3 for 6 from the three-point line. So now, on Dallas, I'm pushing them to the basket. Now for Omaha, if you can get a quick basket, if you can get a quick 2, if they give it to you, and a quick foul, you're working with probably 6 or 7 seconds, and that's more than enough time for JC Show to get the ball up and get a last-second heave.
Now, one thing I'm surprised is that the Skyline are not going a bigger lineup right now. And now we see how this plays out. Possibly commentated by Ricardo Ortiz.
And as we both noted, Elton Dyer covering JC Show rather. Here's Lyle.
Streeter with the ball. Patterson to Streeter. Streeter for 3. Misses it, and the Skyline win this ball game. And a very, very clutch defensive effort for the Dallas Skyline. And there goes one of the balls. And all the way back down it goes. And that is going to do it here from UTD. 132-129 is your score as the Dallas Skyline advance to 9-12 on the year. And Omaha's Finest go to 10-11. And right now, we are about to have a interview with Ryan, and interviewing him is going to be Malachi Davidson.
All right, so hey, Prescott said don't go in the locker room. With Malachi Davidson. Malachi, you just posted 27 points, and you came up clutch for your team in this must-win situation. Malachi, I got to ask,